Good morning, dear viewers of our lesson. I'm glad to greet you from International House Academic Lyceum. My name is Marina Lebedeva. Let's start our lesson. Today I'm going to represent you vocabulary aspect, and for this purpose I decided to choose topic at the airport. So I hope that you will enlarge your vocabulary, learn some new words and get to know some interesting facts about this topic. Let's start. But first of all, let's talk about aircrafts. What does it mean, aircraft? Aircraft is a transport which may travel by air. We may give a lot of examples, but the most bright examples are plane and helicopter. So this is the most spread types of aircrafts. Well, before you will get there, before you will enter your aircraft, or maybe not your own, so you should, for the first of all, book your ticket. What does it mean, book here? It is not something that you may read. Book, I hope that you know this word, but anyway, I will tell you some definition, is a process of reserving. So, you are planning to go somewhere, so that's why you have to book. So, you have to buy your ticket for some period of time early, a little bit earlier. Or you may book also not only ticket for your airplane, you may also book, for example, your apartment at the hotel. So, now you know what does it mean, book. So, you may buy your ticket by booking at the travel agency. It's the most spread method, but nowadays we know that technologies are used more and more. That's why it's really a good idea for you to use internet and book your ticket online. Well, at the airport again, and before you will go to the airport, before you arrive there, what should you do? Can you see at the blue field where I fixed some information? Arrive at the airport 2 to 3 hours before your flight schedule departure time. It means that if you have time, if you know your time of your flight, you should come to the airport 3 or 2 hours earlier. Why? Because actually registration at the airport is a really stressful process and time-taking process, especially at some really big international airports where you may see a lot of people. So it's really time-taking. That's why you should manage your time in order to be on time for your boarding process. Well, now let's talk about airport itself. We may divide each airport and each country into 2 parts, into 2 floors. So, the first floor is for arrivals. The second floor is for departures. So you may see such kind of situation, such kind of system at all the airports all over the world. Well, and now more details. So each floor, each level has international departure and domestic departure, or international or domestic arrival. What does it mean? If you talk about international arrival or departure, you are talking about traveling to some other countries. If you talk about domestic departures and domestic arrivals, you talk about flights inside your country. For example, if you will go to Samarkand or Bukhara, you may name such kind of flight domestic flight. So, please remember this fact. Now, how should you move inside the airport? You may use 2 methods. Actually, it is escalator. Escalator is a moving stairway. You know what does it mean, stairs? So, stairs is some seeing some place which is located a little bit higher, and step by step you may go there. Moving stairway, it means that you shouldn't go yourself. You shouldn't do any action, you will just stand, and that way will carry you to a more higher level. Or another way is elevator or lift. I fixed two words because they are equal and you may use any of them. Actually, for Canada and for America, can you see that small flags that I fixed near the word elevator? I fixed them because you should use them if you are in Canada or United States. But if you are in Great Britain, it's better to use lift. But actually, if you will mix these words, it's okay. They are synonyms and it's not a problem. So, elevator, lift and escalator are methods for moving between floors in the airport. So the next step is the registration process. We should say, instead of registration, check-in. We may divide this process into two types: self-check-in and at the check-in counter. Self-checking, it is a situation when you go to the kiosk. You may see two blue kiosks and you do it yourself, but you may also go to some department, to some agents, and they will help you with that process. So, there at your check-in counter, you may get boarding pass. Boarding pass, it is not a ticket. Boarding pass is some document which you may get in order to enter to your airplane, to your aircraft. So, boarding pass, it is really necessary thing and you cannot lose it, because if you lose, it's a kind of problem. And next step at check-in counter is check-in luggage. So, check-in your suitcases. Your luggage, your bags, we may divide into two parts. It's carry-on baggage, it's your bag which you may take with you to your plane. So, airports and some airlines may fix some limit. For example, it may be 5 kilos or more. For some extra weight, you should pay. And checked baggage. Checked baggage is a suitcase, is a really big, heavy bag so that you should scan before you will send. Well, at the check-in department, you may be asked with such kind of questions. You may have such kind of dialogue. So, next please, it means that maybe you will have a lot of people in front of you and you will wait for them, you will wait for your turn. Then, could I have your passport? Of course, you cannot fly away without passport. How many bags are you checking in today? It means that you may have not only one suitcase, but 2 and more. Well, would you prefer an aisle seat or a window seat? Aisle seat is a seat that you will have in plane near the corridor, near the place where you may walk through the seats. And window seat, it's clear, you will sit near the window. So you may answer like, I have 2 bags, for example, to check in. I'd like a window seat, please. Of course, window seat is far more interesting because you may look, you may take some photos. And the answer may be like, for example, okay, here's your boarding pass. You will get your boarding pass after that. Boarding time is 8:45 from gate 23. It's some example. It may be, of course, a little bit another, but the meaning is like that. Well, now let's come back at the beginning of your check-in, but now we will look at some situation when you should do it yourself. So, self-check-in. By the way, the word check-in may be noun and may be verb. You may say, for example, now I should to check in order to check in. Well, it means that you may use it as a verb and noun at one sentence. Well, after coming to the kiosk, you will get boarding pass and you will get your bag tag. What does it mean, bag tag? Bag tag is such kind of stick paper that you should fix at your luggage, at your suitcase yourself, without help of staff or workers of the airport. And then you should go to the baggage drop or conveyor belt. What does it mean, conveyor belt? Conveyor belt is such kind of big device where you should put your luggage in order to scan what is there, what is inside your bag, is it available to let it go to the plane. So, of course, you cannot avoid this procedure. It's really important and it's of course necessary for all the people who like to board. Well, after that, you will go to the security service. Security service will scan you because you will leave your bags, and after leaving your bag, you will be asked with some questions. You will be asked for some procedures, like, for example, questions. Do you have a laptop? Because they should fix if you have some devices. Do you have any liquids? So, by the way, if you have some food or liquids with yourself, you should leave them at this stage, at the security stage, because it's impossible to take them inside. Are you wearing a belt? We know that a belt consists of some metallic details. That's why sometimes you may be asked to take off your belt, take off your shoes, and you will be scanned. That's why you may be asked to put your arms out. So it's some really spread questions which you may be asked at the security department. And now immigration or customs department. It's the last stage, it's the last process stage for registration. We call this process, customs. At the custom, you should give your passport, and customs workers, they will stamp your passport. They will fix some information that you are living some country. And queue, the word queue, pay attention to that word, such kind of unusual word. It's not English word, queue. It's some amount of people that may stand in front of you. That's why, as I told you before, when you are at some really big international airports, for example Heathrow, you may face with such kind of thing like queue, and you have to wait because you have so many people in front of you. So, after all that steps, after doing all the necessary things, you should find out your gate. Gate is a place where you should go in order to leave airport building before you will go to your plane. Actually, gate name consists of letter and number. Can you see the picture? For example, D48. Well, and sometimes at the airport it may be really difficult. It may be really time-taking procedure to find out your gate because airports are really big. That's why you should do it beforehand. Now let's come back to your boarding pass. You shouldn't read everything that you have there. Actually, you should pay attention to several things. I will help you with that. So, departure gate. Departure gate, you will have such kind of writing, and you will have with the big letters your departure gate. As I told you before, letter and number. Here is 8A22. Next one is boarding time. Boarding time, so boards at. It is that time when you may start going to the airplane, because actually gates are not opened during all the time. So they are opened only at some particular moment when it is necessary at a boarding time. Next is departure time. Can you see at that corner time 3:40? It is that time when your plane will take off. So actually, as a rule, departure time is 30 minutes later after boarding time. And seat number, can you see at that corner also? 23A. Of course, it is necessary to know. And please pay attention with the small letters. They are fixed the word coach. I will explain what does it mean in a minute. And now please pay attention to some other details which are not important during the boarding, but maybe you will need them after you're arriving at another country. So it is flight number. So your flight number may be fixed with the small letters, but you should save your boarding pass itself. Why? Because arriving at some other country at the plane or maybe at the airport already, you may be asked to fulfill declaration form. It's a document that you should fulfill when you enter to some foreign country. Or in other words, you may say customs form. Well, can you see the plane, the picture of plane? And I told you to fix in your mind the word coach. What is it? Coach is a class. Actually, seats are divided into three types, into three classes. The first is economy class, or in other words, you may say coach. They are synonyms. They have the same meaning. Next one is business class, and next one is first class. Actually, at this plane, I think that we have economy class, and economy class is located at the back side of the plane, and business class and first class, they are located at the front part of the plane. And before your boarding, maybe if you are hungry, you may find out food court. What does it mean? It means some place where you may find out food and you may have some lunch or snack. So it's area with different restaurants. And remember, the bigger airport, the more restaurants you may find out there. It may be like coffee shops, it may be fast food points, or it may be really expensive restaurants where you may taste different dishes from different cuisines. Well, the last step that you should do before your flight is boarding. You may do it using two ways. By bus, if your plane is located too far from airport building, or using bridge. What does it mean, bridge, at this topic? Can you see that device that is fixed to the plane? So people used to call that device bridge. It's like a corridor which people use in order to fix to the plane and let people go board their plane. So walk through the bridge, it means boarding process. Well, after your flight, after coming into a foreign country, you will do all that steps which I was talking about before, but in reverse. So you will start from your walking through the bridge or getting by bus to the airport building, then it will be custom. At the custom you will be asked with a little bit another questions in comparing with your living customs. So it may be like, where are you coming from? What is the purpose of your visit? Do you have anything to declare? Actually, purposes may be different, absolutely. It may be business or for pleasure, traveling. It may be educational purposes. So, and anything to declare, the declaration will come a little bit later. Now, but after arriving, except custom, you have one more way two ways I fixed here. So the second way is connection. Connections department. What does it mean? Sometimes people may arrive into some country, but it won't be their destination. It means that they will arrive, and after that they will go to another plane in order to reach their destination, another country. So in that case you shouldn't go to customs, because after customs you should leave airport, and after connection department, registration at connections, you may go to another plane to your second flight. Please pay attention to the words and brackets. Terminal. When we talk about airport and aircraft topic, we should mention that terminal is a building. Actually, airport may consist of several terminals. It means from several buildings. So try to imagine some university where you may find out several campuses. So, for example, each campus is some particular faculty. But at the airport, you should mention that it's not campus, it's not building, it's terminal. And tram is such kind of transport. It's a train that may help you to get from one terminal to another. After customs, if you're leaving airport, before you leave airport, you should of course take your luggage. For this purpose, you should go to the baggage carousel. Baggage carousel. What is it? It's such kind of place. It is moving place, moving belt, moving line, where you may find out your luggage. It is working by circle, and you should take your luggage. How can you find out your baggage carousel? Actually, airports have a lot of carousels. The bigger airport, the more carousels it may have, even 10 or 20. That's why you should pay attention to that screen. Can you see? It's really small, but it's seeable. Small screen that may show the number of flight. You should compare that number on the screen with your number of flight at your boarding pass, and if it is similar, you may wait for your luggage, for your suitcase. And at the entrance, at the leaving airport, you may face with two doors. Nothing to declare and goods to declare. Nothing to declare, it means that you don't have anything serious and you may freely leave your airport. But goods to declare, what does it mean? Goods here, it is things, or declare, it means say. So you should say about some things. What kind of things you should declare? It may be gun, it may be money. For example, some countries have a limit of money, and if you have, for example, more than $10,000, you should declare that sum of money. If you will not declare your money or some things like gun, for example, even if you are a policeman, so they will confiscate that things, and they will not give it back to you. So you will stay without money or your things in a foreign country. And now I will give you some words, but now we'll talk about plane, about aircraft itself. We'll talk about words which are really necessary on the aircraft, on the plane. So, to board. As I have already told you, you shouldn't use the word enter or to come in. You should say board, to board the plane, or embark. They are synonyms. Board or embark, it means entering the aircraft, plane. Cabin. What does it mean, cabin? Cabin, it's a plane itself, but inner space of the plane. So interior, it means inner space. Interior of an aircraft, so cabin, we have some special word, not space but cabin. Flight attendant. Flight attendant, it is workers who, as a rule, meet you at the entrance. They are smiling, they are greeting you, they wish you a pleasant flight. So it's flight attendant. Instead of that word combination, we may use crew members, flight assistants, and cabin crew. So air hostess and steward. We may differentiate flight attendant into two genders. So ladies will be air hostess and gentlemen will be stewards. So please don't mix them. Air hostess for ladies, steward for gentlemen. Next one is aisle. Pay attention to pronunciation of this word. Aisle. Aisle is like a corridor between seats and the cabin. So you may walk in order to get your seat when you are at the plane, at the aircraft. So let's continue. So overhead bin. Overhead bin is some compartment for storage your things, your bags, your carry-on bags, your luggage. Overhead, it is called in this way because they are above your seats. So galley. Galley, it's some compartment. Compartment, it's like a place, a department. It's a compartment where all the meals are kept, or all the meals are cooked, prepared for all the people who are in the cabin. Pilot and co-pilot. It's captains, it's really two the most important people. It's a really risky profession in my opinion. So pilot and co-pilot are captains. They are located in some special place for them. So, and we should call that place cockpit. Not at the plane, not in the cabin, but in the cockpit. So control room for the pilots. So pay attention to the next word, taxiing. Taxiing or flight is taxiing, like word combinations that you may hear. Taxiing out or taxiing in. Taxiing, actually, it is moving on the ground. It's not flying, it's moving on the ground. Taxiing out, it means that plane is moving in order to find out right position to take off. Taxiing in, it means that plane is trying to find out appropriate position in order to give people chance to disembark, to leave the aircraft. Motion sickness, it's some problem with the health which you may have during your flight. It may be provided with pain in your stomach, or your ears pop in or pop out. It's connected with your blood pressure. So when you have such kind of symptoms, it may be like you cannot hear anything clearly. Well, to cruise, it is some condition when people may free their seat belts, and after that they may stand up and go to the bathroom. So at such kind of situation, plane has a stable speed. So turbulence, you know, when plane gets shaky, you cannot stand up, you should fix your seat belts. Lavatory is a bathroom. So cold light is some buttons that you have in front of your face. So high entertainment, it's some screens that you may see at the back side of some seat, and you may watch some movies, listen to the music. Refreshments. Refreshments are given to people when they travel for a short trip. It's like a juice, some sandwiches, some snacks. Touchdown is landing. It's a process of getting to the land, successful landing. So that is all for today. I hope that lecture was really interesting for you, that you faced with a lot of new words, and it will be really useful when you will travel to some foreign country. If you have some questions, you may write them to mail, which I fixed on the screen. And of course, don't forget about registration. If you would like, prepare yourself to entrance exams. So, thank you for your attention. Have a good day and goodbye.